Alrighty, evening everyone. I think we've got everyone in the room. Can you all hear me all right? Pretty good? Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. My name is Jake Gallo. I'm the student project manager for our 2013 Solar Decathlon team. You'll be hearing a little bit more from my team and I later in the night about what we've been up to. But first, I'd like to start off with what you're really here for, which is the Alumni Speaker Series. I'd like to say a special thank you to the creators of the Speaker Series. We have with us tonight, I think, 3 of them, and if you guys want to go ahead and raise your hands. Nate Barreras, hi Nate, Brent Izutsu, and John Torrey. Thank you all so much for creating this. So the goal of the Speaker Series, and those 3 I'm sure would be happy to talk to you more about it after the presentation tonight, is bringing Bronco history and traditions to current students, local alumni, faculty, and staff by educating them on what different aspects of campus life was like over the years. So that's mostly what you're going to be hearing from our 2 guests tonight about. I would also like to just let you guys know that the campus speaker series, or the alumni speaker series rather, is an ongoing thing, so keep a lookout for news on future talks much like this one. So with that, I'd like to briefly introduce my 2 guests who will be able to say a lot more about themselves. We have with us tonight Daniel Wozniak, who is a alum. When were you an alum? From class of 2010.
2009.
2009, forgive me. My sheet is, oh no, I've got pre, sorry guys. Made sure to fact check 2 to 3 times. So Daniel Wozniak, 09 alum, who is kind of a mentor to the current Solar Decathlon team, and he'll be talking a little bit about his experience with that. And then Preet, who's an alum from 2010 and was an actual member of the 2009 Solar Decathlon team. He was the esteemed public relations director of the team who brought in all the money to make that go. So thank you guys so much for coming. With that, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about things. Maybe we can start off with Preet, and if you just want to talk generally about what it was like as a member of the 2013 Solar or 2009 Solar Decathlon team, and you can get. I'll ask later about how it shaped what you're doing now. But what was that like, being here and a student and contributing to that project?
It was awesome. How well can you guys hear me? Pretty well. It was a great time. I think 2009 was special for me because the 2007 team had done something amazing. They put Santa Clara on the map for the Solar Decathlon. I mean, it was a Cinderella story that was just beyond belief for so many people. The 2009 team, we had something to prove that wasn't a fluke, and we had to take the school forward even further. So there was actually a lot of pressure on us that, there was this expectation to live up to, but there was also something that we're Silicon Valley. We're the team from California. We're the only undergraduate team. And we had to do something distinct and something unique. So it was really fun, and we were really lucky to have the alumni team, alumni from 2007 around to really guide us with, hey, on your deliverables, on your first set, don't worry about that sort of stuff, because Solar Decathlon is basically a full-time job when you're one of the really kind of core key leaders of it. And with that, when you're doing that and you're also taking physics classes or engineering classes, something's going to give somewhere, and often that ends up being sleep. So it was really tough, but it was so rewarding because of the people around us, and also because we had great mentors who would look out for us and say, okay, here's where you need to focus, here's where you can pull back, because otherwise we're just, we didn't have experience. Solar Decathlon became our experience in life, and so we were just blindly attacking things. So it was great, but it was also pretty stressful at times too.
Sounds a lot like the current adventure that we're on. And I'm sure everyone in the audience has seen that you guys, clearly did raise the bar in '09 and did move things forward, as you said. What about you, Dan? I know you weren't on the team when you were attended school here, but you were certainly around when '07 was competing. Must have some sense of, I've talked to friends of yours, engineering grads, from that period. What was it like just being a student at the school during those times?
So I was a business major, and that makes me jealous because I'm not allowed to participate in the Solar Decathlon, right?
I mean,
you have to be engineering.
No, we actually welcome. We have probably 100+ business students, but back in '07, you're right. It was like the '07 team was 8 people, so we've grown some since then. Yeah.
So I remember seeing the project and walking through campus and seeing it go up, and it was all kind of new. I wasn't too familiar with everything, and as you said, there's only 8 people that are doing it. So I think more towards the end, you always see this construction, and when you finally see it form, and the importance of it, and it starts looking like a real house, you realize what they just made, and then competing and actually taking place, 3rd place was it? Mm-hmm. I mean that's huge, and for Santa Clara to be chosen to do it and to compete so well against the other schools and build a solar house that it now is sitting on campus, and they moved it with the crane and everything. Everybody walks by it. We have meetings in it, and it's still up, and I think that's pretty amazing. And that's kind of why when this new project came along and I got the opportunity to be involved, it was because I walked by that one, I saw it going up and everything, and you walk by and you think, man, I kind of want to be involved in that, and so this is my opportunity to be involved and help out.
And thank you for it. You've been very helpful to us on the latest go at it. So maybe something a little bit more general for you guys. School traditions, whether it be strictly the school itself and its long and storied history, or an extracurricular tradition that you're particularly fond of. Did either of you have any school traditions that you guys loved?
Okay, so if you include extracurriculars, it opens up.
Yeah, well, it certainly does. You gotta keep it, suitable for all audiences, but extracurriculars are fair game.
So there's one school-sanctioned tradition I really enjoyed, and that was the RLCs in the dorms. I don't know how much you guys know about this. RLCs stand for Residential Learning Communities. So each dorm kind of has its own unique flavor of sort of events that they'll put on. And I stayed in Casa Italiana, which was the Da Vinci RLC. So I really enjoyed that because I'd go all sorts of events. I really knew the people around us, and it had a scientific bent to it. So that was a big part of my campus experience. But other ones were, I really enjoyed the skateboards around campus because it's what inspired me to get a skateboard, and I still have used that when commuting around downtown San Francisco. So that was one thing I really enjoyed from campus.
Fair. Daniel?
Well, so when I was here, I rode crew for a little bit, and you have to wake up at 5 a.m., and that's a nice tradition, but
Is that what they say? Road crew?
Yeah.
Like rode the canoe? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In Lexington. That was fun. That's something that you do with other people. I wanted to be a part of a team before I graduated from college. And that was, so I spent a lot of time doing that. And, I kind of like all the events that they host, all the vintage and the Golden Circle and those things, because I get to connect with students and friends that I went to school with. So I think more now, when I was in school, I mean, you see everybody in class and, you do these activities. But I think now when I come back, I really look forward to all the events because I get to, the alumni I'm friends with a lot of them, to this day, I just spend a lot of time with everybody. And, we created Bronco Builders, which is Santa Clara University Graduates in Construction. We just got together and we thought, what's another thing that we can do where we can bring people together, other alumni, and spend time, networking and helping each other find jobs or whatever it is. So Bronco Builders for everybody, if you would like to get involved. We have over 200 members now.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a Bronco
Well,
builder
it's for us,
too.
right?
I'm a Bronco builder too. No, I
for us.
appreciate it. That's fair. Excellent. Yeah, we have a number of former crew people on the Solar Decathlon team. It seems like they say, I'm going to do crew and solar for about a week before the sleep deprivation hits. 5 a.m. wake-ups and solar do not go well together. So we have, like I said, probably half a dozen people who were former crew and then joined us. Great. Well, how about now? You talked about coming back and meeting current students at events, and I mean myself included. What advice would you have for the student body at large, and then maybe kind of tailored towards Solar Decathlon, those of us who are trying to tackle this immense project?
Teamwork is huge. Working well, planning everything out, and putting the extra time in. I think that's what makes the difference. When I think back, and every time that you put that extra effort in, where instead of just going home at 5, you work until 1 or 2, and you actually feel accomplished a.m. And you actually feel accomplished, and your brain hurts. You really haven't solved anything until you're just mentally exhausted, and then you just figure something out. And I think that just saying that you really need to put the effort into it, and then put 20-30% more than everybody else is, you don't have to be the smartest person, but if you have dedication and you put that time in, then you're gonna be the winner.
That's a lesson that our team has learned well. What about you, Preet? For having been a Solar Decathlete yourself, what would you want to say to the members of the current team, or just current students in general?
I think what I would suggest is, the first thing is just be super thankful. I think that Santa Clara altogether and the faculty around you put a lot of investment into making you as a student successful, and you get really a unique experience, and it's amazing. Spending a month in DC, getting interviewed by Popular Mechanics and CNN, and you feel like a rock star. A rock star has put in a lot of effort, but that's because of the work of people around you, like Dr. Height and Papa Reeds over there. They're the ones that help you make it happen. So being thankful, I think, is a big piece. But then I think another piece that's also really important is have a plan for after Solar Decathlon. Because it's a 2-year commitment, which is a bigger horizon than most college students think about. And suddenly, when it's over, there's like this void in your life. And at first, you're like, wow, I'm going to meet friends I haven't seen in 2 years. This is great. Who knew you lived next door? But on top of that is, you've just had a very unique experience. What are you going to use that to take you on to next? And having some idea of what that is, I think is really important. And honestly, I would say that was a misstep we might have had in 2009, and maybe a misstep we even had in 2007, is that in terms of college students coming out of school, we probably had the most clean tech, energy experience out of almost anyone in the country. But the amount of us that were going to cutting edge energy institutions around the world was actually pretty small. And I think that's an opportunity that we should be taking advantage of. This is where we put Santa Clara on the map. As students, this is where you need to put yourselves on the map too, for the benefit of yourselves and for the benefit of the school. Thank you so much for being here, Preet. I'm not done yet, but I just wanted to thank you before anything else, because we really appreciate it. I'd also like to pigtail off of that and ask about, you've already touched on it, but how did you said you guys maybe had a misstep there, but certainly the Solar Decathlon and your Santa Clara education did have a huge impact on what you're doing now. I'm sure it shaped your future some. Would you like to talk about that a little bit? How do you feel that it has affected things?
Sure. I mean, it's affected in great ways of just giving me a sense of working with other people, like you said, teamwork. What we did wasn't possible. It was the sum of our total parts that made what we did possible. And so Solar Decathlon taught us a lot about teamwork and also thinking a little bit longer term and putting a plan together and then executing against it. And that was really helpful for me because after Santa Clara, I went to work for a company called Zynga in San Francisco. Some of you might have heard of them. They make games like Words with Friends, Farmville. And because of my experience in college, I was much better suited to actually work on a team and have a lot of success while I was there. I left some time ago to start my own company. But I think Santa Clara and Solar Decathlon was super helpful to me on actually having a sense of doing something novel and creating a plan to attack that and working with fantastic people.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. And what about you, Dan? Your Santa Clara experience, how would you say that that's really helped to shape what you're doing now? I know Bronco Builders is obviously a big part of things, and that's an alumni network. But beyond that, or even within that, how has it really affected things?
Well, I was a audit major, or I'm auditor, but accounting major, and I went into audit and tax work for primarily commercial construction companies, and I worked with them for many years, and went on to software and realized that, in venture capital, realized that I like commercial construction, and while I was there, I wrote some software and figured, well, why can't I do that for commercial construction? So, I came back, and my main thing is collaboration, helping companies collaborate and work together. And, being a part of this team, what I try to bring to them, and, one of the things, the forum that, we were going to start using is helping people work together and helping them, I'm not an engineer, but, helping people communicate and how to run the project and things like that, and getting them ready for when they get into actual construction companies and they're working for, Rudolph and Sutton, and all of a sudden, they're like, well, I'm working with these huge teams and all these things are changing all the time, that things aren't on time. How do I deal with that? And, I kind of try to bring that aspect to thinking about these things ahead of time. And I think that, while I was in Santa Clara and learning all these things and reading all these books and these management books, they tell you how to run things perfectly, right? And it's like everything runs so great in these books, and it's like you get into the real world and it's like nothing runs like that, And you use all these, you guys are using softwares and things that a lot of construction companies don't even have, and they're huge, and a lot of people don't use it. So coming back and talking to you guys and making sure that you take that into industry and help actually bring these collaboration, these working together and everything to the industry over the next 5 or 10 years, that's going to make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We feel like we'll be able to carry it forward some. Well, great, thank you. That's what I have. I'd like to go ahead and open it up to the audience at this point. If I'm sure that they have plenty of questions for you guys. So shall we go ahead and do that? Any questions from anyone in the audience? For our two esteemed guests. Yeah.
I'll go in the back.
What did you get your degree in?
So my degree ended up being in engineering physics, which is this kind of shadow major in the College of Arts and Sciences. But I actually skipped around a lot. I came to Santa Clara as a business major. I went to bioengineering, and then I was debating mechanical engineering, and finally went to engineering physics. So that's what I got my degree in. But I'd really say my degree was Solar Decathlon.
We like to say that we spend, I would say at this point, I'm in my senior year, so senior year slump is in full effect. But probably 50% of my time is Solar Decathlon and 25% is actual coursework, with the other 25% being unaccounted for. So yeah, Solar Decathlon, I hear you there. It's pretty significant. Anybody else have any questions for our guests? Yeah.
You turned out to be one of the key kind of faces to the world, to the media for the Solar Decathlon project. And
Thank you.
Did that, right? Did that kind of, you were always on camera. You said you were a rock star. You really were. But your major is not in communication and rock starness. How did that happen? Were you surprised by that? That here you are, engineering physics, and now all of a sudden you're in front of cameras and you're giving spiels and talks and writing and all of the great things that you did do so well.
I think in Solar Decathlon we just stepped up. We stepped up to the plate that where there was an opportunity, we did what we needed to do. I mean, I was also responsible for, our water systems in the house, and that was actually my principal responsibility. But that turned out to not be as important as some of our communications and our other plans. Especially, I don't know how much you guys know about the actual structure of the competition, but there's criteria in which the houses and the teams are graded upon. And you literally get awarded points. And so the sum of those points determines who wins the competition. So engineering is one category, of which water might be a subset, versus communications is a completely distinct category. And so myself with two other people, Katie Mardula and Allison Kopf, spent a lot of time on our communications work. And that was just something I kind of fell into, Papa Reeds, because we needed the help, and I was able to help. And then in terms of talking to people, I guess people just kept listening, so I kept trying.
Got pretty good at it over the years, or
Cool.
over the thousands of interviews that you've certainly done.
Quick question, how many people here are alumni? Okay, if you're an alumni, raise your hand. Okay, there's a lot of alumni. If you're a student, raise your hand. And faculty? All right,
Yeah.
good representation. Okay, so it's really cool to see a lot of alumni come to this too. I thought those were going to be mostly students, but that's great. Yeah, for the students, so one thing, in case you don't know, they always share with us what the questions are going to be ahead of time. So, and so one of the things we were supposed to say is, what advice would we have for students? And one thing I would really suggest is truly have your own plan. And I think a lot of alumni would tell you this, like, career advice and career shaping becomes a pretty important thing, especially in this geography where people move between jobs very frequently. Have an idea of what you want, and then Santa Clara will help you get there. Because it was only through Santa Clara's network I got my first job. I visited a guy named Brian Nider at 7 a.m. in Redwood City to talk to him about Solar Decathlon. And so I would really make an effort to know what it is you're gunning for. And then you'll find a ton of support from this campus. They're a very supportive network.
Thank you. Yeah, we're finding it out ourselves firsthand, definitely, how great the school is. There's not a lot of schools that have done. When my team does present, we'll talk a little bit more about the decathlon at length. Apologize to leave you hanging on the details, but there's not a lot of schools out there. Few, if any, who've competed 3 times now, and this will be our 3rd time, and that's really just testament to our faculty, Dr. Height and Father Reeds, and the great support that we've gotten from alumni and faculty alike. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Oh, we have a couple. Yes.
Well, I was wondering how the experience of working on the Solar Decathlon maybe played into your desire to start your own company or your ability to do so. And what is your company?
Sure. In terms of, I applied to Santa Clara because I knew I wanted to start a company when coming out of high school. I wanted to be in this geography just because I wanted to start a company. So I had known about that for a while. Solar Decathlon really helped me do that because I'd had tons of ideas since high school. But it was only after Solar Decathlon and after some professional experience that I had an idea of how you go about that, how do you actually execute to take your ideas to fruition, to finally this beautiful house that gets shipped to Washington, D.C. that you can sit in, from a design on a paper to something you can stand in and sleep in and eat food at. That experience is what Solar Decathlon taught me a lot about. And then what my company does is, so if you look around campus, there's the blue emergency towers. We take that functionality and we put it onto your mobile phone. So that way, in the case of an emergency for any student, it's only 2 taps from their home screen to share their GPS location with campus security. So our product is the fastest way to get help, period. We're faster than 911. So that's what my company does.
And did we have, yeah.
What do you think was the hardest or most difficult issue during the whole process, and how did you overcome that? Maybe not the most difficult, but a really difficult.
I don't know. There's one I can really, I know, but I. Did I talk about it? Okay.
Oh God.
All right. So there's. You can ask me about that one on 101 after. There other ones were just, again, we're students, and there's a lot of stuff we didn't know how to do. We didn't know the right way to ask for money and donations, and we had to do that a lot. And so the school helped us out, but it was really hard. What are the right ways to make certain designs, or even find how to do plumbing? We literally went to a random contractor in Redwood City, and we just cold called them and said, hey, we're students, we don't know anything about plumbing. Could you help us? And we went there, and I remember buying him Subway sandwich because it was the only thing I could do to offer for help. And he spent 3 hours with us just telling us how to make plumbing drawings. And then later on, his team and his company came to help us do the plumbing. And honestly, I think we got over most of our problems because we were so naive, because we were so determined to achieve what we said we would. So that was how we overcame a lot of the things. There was a very specific issue, but again, you have to ask about that after.
And I'd like to ask, you're now more or less forming your own company too, right? You're at least marketing your own product. I don't know if it's the Dan Wozniak company, but it's a similar experience, right? I mean, you formed your own company, as have you, and Solar Decathlon, I always sell it the same way that you do. It's like it's a startup. We're a bunch of people who've never built anything, and we design and build and produce and market a product, which is a several $100,000 house. But what would you say has been the biggest challenge in that, in creating a company? Because it's a very parallel experience to the Solar Decathlon.
Yeah, so like I said, I was in commercial construction, and it's a very certain mindset. And then I went into venture capital and software, and worked with a lot of companies that took funding. And I have this thing about, bootstrap, right? The construction industry. You want to start and just build the company and not take any money from anybody. And so that's kind of what I did. So, I mean, I wrote a software, and that works pretty well. I automated the software revenue recognition system. So that's great. So that's funding me, building my company as far as now. But getting everything together and just doing it yourself, and doing everything from getting your own business cards, which I found out cost money, and
The Vistaprint ones are not good. Those
Yeah.
free $250 from Vistaprint, unless you want a tractor on your business card, they're not free.
and writing contracts and making sure they're correct, and going and then talking to people. I was an auditor and I did tax, and I'm not necessarily a sales guy, so it's kind of difficult to go in there and sell something and explain to somebody. I'm pretty techie and I'm nerdy, and so I get into details a lot, and it's just being able to play all the different hats. And then once you get into doing the work, and you're talking to all different people and trying to communicate and plan everything out. You go in there and you've got to talk to 30 different people, schedule everything, things get moved around, and that's teamwork. You have to learn how to do all that. You have to know how to be a problem solver, right? So it's not, you don't have to learn anything but how to be a problem solver. A lot of the stuff you're going to encounter, you won't know how to fix it, and you just have to know how to figure it out and how to look for a solution. And I think that Santa Clara taught me that, and I think that working throughout my career taught me that, and that drive that I'm talking about. That when you go in there and you just put that extra time into finding a good solution, that'll pay off.
there. Yeah, we're feeling the same thing. Okay, great. Well, with that, I think I'd like to say, oh, sorry, was I cutting someone short? Yeah, sorry. We'll do one more question. Yes?
This is to anyone who can answer it, I guess. What sets the current 2013 team apart from the one you guys worked on? What makes you guys think that this team can take first place?
Jake's the leader.
Jake.
Well, I'm taller than either of these two. That's the starting point of our success. From there, we just kind of, we've really built ourselves off of the experiences of the teams that these two kind of saw and firsthand when they were students here. You'll be able to see it some in the presentation, but we had an alum from 07 come and visit the other day, one of the Fonts brothers, the legendary Fonts brothers of the 07 team, who were kind of instrumental in a number of the systems. And he came to visit us on a Saturday, which are our work days, and we had the DC, or the design center, kind of the engineering or solar decathlon hive mind. We had probably about 30 or 40 of our team members in there on a Saturday morning at like 11 a.m. before most college students really want to be up and out of bed. And he was shocked. And that was more people than they had ever had on the 07 team. And that's a direct result of the success that they've had in 07 and 09. I mean, the publicity, both worldwide and here on campus, has grown so much as a result of what has been done before us. Our ability to succeed has grown because of what's been done before us. And people, I mean, particularly with 09, which you guys all know the redwood structure right out there by the parking garage. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. It's a gorgeous house, and people want to be a part of that. So we get, I don't want to say we get bigger and brighter talent than anyone on 09, but we get more people to choose from, more people willing to lend a hand. And so, we're able to stand on tall shoulders and kind of really, really push things. I might be speaking a little prematurely here. We haven't even built a damn thing yet. So that's the dream anyways. That's what we're striving towards. But ask us again in 6 months and we'll see how we did. Great. Okay. I apologize for cutting you guys off there. With that, I'd just like to say thank you guys so much for being here. I know you guys will both be around after the reception to field questions. I know people are going to want to hear about your big problem, and I think I know what it is. Might it be the cough architect-engineer tension, perhaps? It's an age-old tension, so it's not anything that people won't be too familiar with. But thank you again, guys, for coming. And we'll be talking to you after the remainder of the speech. Thank you. This is a small group of the 2013 team. As you guys have already said, my name is Jake Allen. I'm the project manager for the team. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Hi everybody, thank you all for being here. My name is Nicole Powell and I'm the assistant project manager for 2013.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay Debashi and I'm the fundraising director for 2013.
And I'm Brian Grau and I'm in charge of public relations. I'm striving to be what Preet is and what he did. It's my goal. It's my goal.
Great. So again, like Nicole said, thank you so much for staying with us tonight. So you've already heard quite a bit about it, but I'd like to get a little bit more into the history of our past success with the Solar Decathlon. So as you guys know, we've now competed in 07 and in 2009. The 2007 Cinderella story, as Preet referred to it, and that was our start, and not a very pretty start. A rough start. A team of about 8 to 10 students got together and decided that this was something that they really wanted to do. We weren't even selected in the competition to begin with. We were the 21st team or so we'd like to believe. I think the truth is that there was another California team, I think it was USC, one of the Southern California teams, was selected and then dropped out. And so they gave the spot to us instead. So that was how we got our start. 6 months late to begin the design and build process, and not even originally selected for the competition. We scrambled, got that house together, loaded it on the back of a truck to head to Washington, D.C., and an axle snapped on the truck trying to pull out of the campus. So spent all night rebuilding the axle. I don't know what you do to fix an axle. I assume it's rebuilt or replaced. Wouldn't even know. Hopefully not something that we have to deal with. And got it on the road before it snapped again in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, it's Kansas. The worst place for an axle to break, I imagine. I didn't even know there were like mechanics in Kansas. So had to spend another couple of days broken down in Kansas, working to repair that. Meanwhile, other teams, we have about a week to build these houses on the Washington Mall in DC in front of the Capitol building. At this point, we're 3 days late. Other teams have structures, their house pretty much completely put together. And we have an empty lot with the Secretary of Energy standing there with a few smiling members of our team waiting for the cavalry to arrive. We got there. First competition we announced is architecture. It ain't pretty. I got 18th. So 18th out of 20th. Out of 20 teams, rather. So not great. Over the course of the next week and a half, first place finish in this, first place finish in that, we pulled up to third, beating out Carnegie Mellon, MIT, other top name engineering schools from around the world. So 2009, story's a lot shorter. It went a lot better. Preet may beg to differ, having actually been there. It might have been a rough time, but built a beautiful house. No axles broke. First place in architecture. And unfortunately, due to some bad weather the last couple days and a team of cheating Germans who spent about $1.5 million on an 800 square foot house, we slipped to third again from our first place, which we'd held on to for the bulk of the competition. So that's our history. And with that, I'd like to leave it to my team to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing now.
So that's what we've done, but now we're here to talk about 2013. And this picture is of the Orange County Great Park, which is where we will be building our house in, or rather rebuilding our house in a few short months. And that's the biggest, and in our perspective, the best new thing for 2013, because we don't have to drive our house across the country, which means if an axle breaks, we have a little bit more wiggle room in our schedule, because if it really needs to happen, we can get down there in a day. But there's a few other things happening in 2013 that we'd like to share. So while we used to be the Cinderella story or Team California, now they've thrown us into the mix with some other schools. Most notably, the one who's just up the street, Stanford. We've had them down for a barbecue. We tried to be really nice, but there's a little tension between who is the true heart of the Silicon Valley. And we are definitely ready to prove that it is, in fact, Santa Clara. So there's one more thing about 2013 that I want to share with all of you, and that is the new Affordability Contest. They introduced that in 2011, so some teams have had to deal with that since, and the target cost for all of our houses is $250,000. As you can see, the average house in 2011 did not make that. We are trying very, very hard to be able to make that deadline, but we're starting to learn that it really is a competition and is a game. As Preet mentioned earlier, some things become more important than others when it comes down to the points. So we've decided, mainly as a team, that we think shooting to have our house fall under $3,000 is where we'd like to sit, because we think that extra $50,000 will be able to give us systems that will help us win in all the other categories. So sacrificing the 5 to 10 points for the extra 50 grand, we believe is the correct choice. So that's sort of what we're doing now. And I'd like to introduce you all to Radiant House. This is the latest rendering of our soon to be beautiful and actually functioning and standing house. If everything goes well, fingers crossed, all of you please keep them crossed for the next 9 months. So our design philosophy has been efficiency, economy, and elegance. That's really sort of what we've wanted our house to embody, what we've put into our team, and this is a product of, I will say, blood, sweat, and tears, many sleepless nights, many long days, and even, I'll go as far as to say a few arguments. We're a team full of big personalities. I believe everybody else who's been into the DC ever on a Saturday hates us because you know when we're in there because we are yelling, we are loud, we're like, no, I have an idea, this is my idea. But in the end, we truly are really proud of what we're doing and very excited to see it come to life. To give you all a little bit better of an idea of what it will be, we're gonna go ahead and play for you our animated walkthrough. Mind you, this was turned into the Department of Energy in December, so there has been some tweaks and changes and growing since then. Our project is constantly changing. If you talk to somebody 2 days ago, what is now happening is something totally different. So it's a very fast-paced turnover, so I'll go ahead and let you all watch.
Santa Clara University would like to introduce you to our Radiant House. Radiant House is a 1,000 square foot net zero energy house that blends together the 3 E's of our design philosophy: economy, efficiency, and elegance. There are 3 modules that integrate seamlessly to maximize the interior space. The 2 public modules contain the dining room, kitchen, and living room. The private module contains the bedroom, bathroom, and laundry area. Expanding on our past successes using bamboo for structural components in our Solar Decathlon houses, Radiant House's entire structure is made from bamboo. Since bamboo is a grass, it grows much faster than traditional lumber materials, making it more sustainable. The modules of the house expand outward on the north side, welcoming you into our home. As you approach the house from Decathlete Way, the first thing to catch your eye will be the front deck and carport with a charging station for an electric vehicle. All the rooms of the house open to this deck, which functions as a natural gathering spot. As you enter the front door, you are invited into a transitional space that links the dining room, kitchen, and living room. The open space allows you to entertain a large number of people in a comfortable manner. The dining room table can be expanded to accommodate 12 people. Between the dining room and the living room is our kitchen. With an open and maneuverable layout, it is fully equipped with a stainless steel oven, dishwasher, double sink, and refrigerator. The bamboo cabinets on all sides provide ample room for storage, and the vast countertops provide plenty of space to prepare and serve meals. The tall ceilings give the house an open feel, and the operable clear-story windows allow natural light to illuminate the living room and kitchen and can be opened to allow hot air to rise and escape, cooling the house. The living room provides a sizable leisure area and can be opened to both the front and back decks in order to integrate the outdoor space with the indoor space. The furniture is completely movable to suit the homeowner's needs. We have an extensive control system that controls the lights, operable clear-story windows, and the operable patio doors, so that from anywhere in the house, these can be adjusted by the homeowner using a tablet computer or from anywhere in the world with a smartphone. Walking through the living room, you move from the public sector to the private module. On your right is the bathroom and laundry area, while the bedroom is on the left. Inside the bedroom, you'll find a large walk-in closet, as well as a small desk that can be used as a study. The bedroom is located away from the public space and has its own private deck. Radiant House, showing that the solar lifestyle is affordable, appealing, and accessible to everyone.
So, our team, like Jake touched on earlier, thanks to the previous success of the Solar Decathlon, our team is a little bit larger than the previous teams. So we have around 400 students who have contributed in some way at some point, even if that's just showing up to a meeting and giving some design input. We have about 100 students who are committed to work on the project, and of that, there's a core group of about 40 students who have been working for the past year and a half on this project. We have put in a lot of effort to get other majors involved. It's not just an engineering project anymore. We have 4 university classes dedicated to this project, or we had 4 university classes dedicated to this project, 2 of which were marketing classes that were focused solely on developing our communications and marketing plans for the competition. We've also been working with 2 groups of architecture consultants. Artique is a architecture studio located in San Jose that does a lot of design and artwork for local schools in the area. And we've been working with some students from the University of San Francisco, and they've been assisting us with both the design of the interior of the house and the exterior landscaping. Next. So, like Preet touched on, this project offers a lot of benefits to our students outside of just, a nice thing to put on a resume. A lot of students gain life skills from this project. They gain connections that they use to get jobs after Santa Clara. Here are three examples of companies where students who are solar decathletes have ended up after they finish their work with the project. So this project offers a lot of local benefits, not just to students, but to the community at large around Santa Clara. So as you can see, $1.1 million in unpaid advertising for both the university and our sponsors. So that's everything from mentions in places like Popular Mechanics, to blog posts, to tweets, to Facebook posts. Santa Clara saw a huge increase in applications from the project, from the Solar Decathlon. It really helps our students prepare themselves to enter the workforce and become multifaceted engineers.
Along with that, we also do a lot of outreach. We're blessed to be here at Santa Clara, and we want to give back to the community. And one way we've been doing that is with Habitat for Humanity. It's like a twofold. We're working with them and helping the local community, but we're also gaining construction experience. And since we actually have to build this house in a couple of months here. So that's one partnership that has worked out very well for us. And then also just educating the general schools and trying to get people interested in engineering, specifically in renewable energies and sustainable products and different things like that. We have tours of the 2009 house on a regular basis. Like once every week, there's a group that wants the house open for a tour to educate some local school group, professional groups. We've had people from other countries come visit the house. It's having the houses here on campus is it's a place where we can teach other people about what we're doing. So we are starting construction soon. Our groundbreaking is on April 25th, 2013, if you want to mark your calendars now. We'll be sending out a lot more information about that. You guys are all welcome to come. And that's when we'll be kicking off our construction season. And then it'll be 5 months of a lot of hard work. And there's also many ways that you can help. As Preet mentioned before, we do have to raise all of our own money, and that is a struggle. So any in-kind donations, we are greatly appreciative. If you guys work for companies that have products, in-kind donations are also very helpful. And then also, if you know anyone in Southern California that has housing, knows good food places, please let us know, because we're going to be down there for a month rebuilding this house and competing, and we need places to stay, food to eat, activities to do to keep our minds off of Solar Decathlon. We're forced to take a break. They close down the construction site for periods of time, and we're forced to take breaks. It's new, I know.
Yeah, we're not allowed to work 24/7.
Yeah, we can't work 24/7.
They kick us out at 2 a.m.
Yeah, we have to sleep. So anything to get us off the construction site and just having a good time, please talk to us after this presentation.
All right, and with that, we should be good. Thank you.